Welcome to the Osterville Village Library. My name is Amy Wolf. I am the programming coordinator. We are very excited to have Anke Rudy back with Power Plants, getting ready for the new year. So let's give it up for Anke.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So hopefully everyone is enjoying the festive season. Let me just check that that the slides are the arrows. Oh wait, I put maybe no. Oh wait, do I have to put the cursors on this buckle? Okay, now I got it. Okay, so hopefully everyone is feeling festive and enjoying the holiday season. And last time we talked about getting through the holidays and making healthier choices. So hopefully that has inspired some people to switch out the dairy for a non-dairy option. Hi. Hello, welcome. And just, trying out some new recipes and maybe just adding some more vegetables, trying to roast vegetables without oil. Have you tried that? Do you roast vegetables without oil?
I don't roast because I have asthma, so I don't want any smoke in that, it gets too hot at 400 degrees away.
Okay, but generally, if you're roasting them without oil, then the smoke shouldn't be an issue. So you could try it. Anyway, so yeah, there are we talked about different ways to prepare food, different options, swapping out, non-dairy options instead of the dairy for butter and milk. Yeah, please help yourself to.
Yeah,
that is a
what kind of soup or whatever is this?
This is
You always have the most delicious.
Yeah, so this is a carrot and ginger soup.
Okay.
With garlic, and I actually added some parsnip and apple to it. So just give it a little mix. It's probably very hot.
It's the only way to take it.
So yes, help yourself to some soup. So yeah, as always, I brought a little something to try today. It is a carrot and ginger soup. The recipe is in this Plant Pure Nation cookbook. So this is a great cookbook. Last time I made the chocolate and pumpkin pie with the date and walnut crust, and today I've made the carrot and ginger soup, and I also added some fun things. I added garlic, which it didn't really call for in the recipe, and I also added some parsnip and one apple just for a little sweetness, and some garlic and some extra pepper. There should be a pepper grinder over there if you want to add some extra pepper, some spice to it, and it's super easy. You just throw it all in a pot and then you blend it, and then you add a little coconut milk towards the end just to give it a little richness. So that's all very good for you. A little curry powder.
About a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, you came and gave a talk and had something with perhaps rice or rice soup, maybe. I know you.
Oh yeah, yes. That was, I think, like a full the soup maybe with I think I put butternut squash in it. It's kind of yellowish turmeric and ginger and garlic. Yeah.
I try to come to all of your talks here, and I have done a lot
Oh
as far
good.
as transitioning.
Oh good.
Can't say I'm 100%.
No, that's good though. Making steps in the right direction.
We are, both my wife and I are. We're very pleased with
That's
the way
excellent.
things have been going.
That's excellent. Yes, so nobody needs to do this overnight. It can be a gentle transition. And I just like to remind people at every talk I do about the difference between whole food plant-based versus what is more commonly understood as vegan.
Right.
So vegan, while it is technically everything I eat is also vegan, there are a lot of vegan products that are not so healthy, like they're highly processed, the baked meats, the vegan cheeses, the vegan, even a lot of this, cereals and things will have a lot of oil and sugar added. So the whole food plant-based way of eating tries to avoid processed foods. And so yes, we try to eat as much as possible, just fruits and vegetables, grains, nuts and seeds. But then there are some things that are just very lightly processed, like pasta. So I brought a selection here. I'll talk more about these later, but there are some whole wheat pastas and chickpea pastas, lentil and brown rice pasta, for example. So those are considered, lightly processed, but those, I love pasta, so I'm not giving those up anytime soon. So those are good.
Yeah, we've been doing the chickpea pasta.
Yeah, and they're great alternatives to like a regular white pasta, and also good for people who are gluten intolerant. So yeah, so whole food plant-based, it's really eating as unprocessed as possible. Also cutting out oil and sugar. Oil it's just pure fat. It doesn't really have a nutritional value. It really just sludges your blood. Sugar, we all know we should be cutting back on the sugar. So sugar substitutes, I like to use date syrup, maple syrup, date sugar if you need sugar, apple sauce in baking and things like that. Yeah, so this is a picture I took at a lovely farmer's market in Germany a couple of weeks ago. And the kale was just amazing. It was just mountains and mountains of kale. It looked fabulous. So, okay, so this is just a little recap from last time. We talked about getting through the holidays and making some little healthier switches, eating plenty, going heavy on the veggies. If you're not ready to cut out the turkey or the meat completely, maybe just have a smaller portion of the meat and just load up on the veggies. In baking, you can use unsweetened applesauce and flaxseed egg instead of egg. Switching out the milk.
What kind of eggs?
So if you take ground flaxseed,
Yeah.
which you can buy many places, this is from Trader Joe's. If you put a few tablespoons of flaxseed in a bowl with some water, it will and let it sit for a while. It will make a kind of a sticky paste, and you can use that as an egg substitute in baking. And no cholesterol, and flaxseed has tons of wonderful nutritional benefits. So that's a good one.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Oh,
but
please,
you're always
no,
wonderful.
please, yeah, please interrupt.
Jones doesn't mind.
No,
No,
interrupt as much as you like. Oh, here's the pamphlet. So flax and also unsweetened applesauce. And yeah, so plant milks. Trader Joe's has a really good selection of the long life ones. You don't have to get the refrigerated ones. And this one is a blend of almonds, cashews, macadamia nuts. It does have a little bit of locust bean gum and sunflower, so it's not perfect. And this soy one, the only ingredients are water and organic soybeans. So that's a really pure one. That's a good one. So there's a lot of great plant-based milks out there, but do check the labels and try and get one that has as few ingredients as possible. And then a lot of them are sweetened and vanilla and whatnot. And then yes, just pick up a plant-based cookbook and try some recipes. You said you've been trying to incorporate more plant-based foods. So what, for example, what have you been
Go
cooking?
on to the website. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name right now. Maybe she was your mentor?
Oh, Jean?
Jean, yes.
Schumacher. Yeah, she has a website. Yep.
Many
Yep.
times with her.
Okay. Yep.
So we go on in the morning, we have her steel oats.
Okay.
That's for sure. I like the Mexican
Lasagna.
lasagna.
Yes, yes,
My wife's not fond of it, but she'll eat it.
Okay.
And so we just try to, yes, I still eat some meat,
Okay.
but we try to balance it out with
Yeah.
mostly plant stuff,
That's
frankly.
great. Yep. That's good. So, yeah, so try some new recipes, and then, that pie I brought last time was a big hit with a lot of my friends. And it had pumpkin in it, and I wouldn't taste it if I had eaten that without knowing it had pumpkin in it. So there are a lot of ways of adding fiber and nutrients to desserts and all sorts of dishes. And then using dates and nuts. So dates, one of my favorite treats at the moment, because they actually have a lot of fiber, and they don't affect the, has a low glycemic index, so even like diabetic. So a friend of my husband's, this is the pie I brought last time. He is a type 1 diabetic, and he said this doesn't raise his blood sugar at all. He can eat as much of it as he wants. So yeah, this is just to kind of show a healthy dessert versus, a traditional apple pie, and you can make a healthy apple pie. If you maybe make a granola crust instead of a pastry, butter, sugar, crust, and definitely no ice cream on the side. So yeah, so these were some of the challenges that we talked about. There's a lot of emotions connected with holidays and family gatherings and pressure to kind of eat what everyone else is eating. But generally, I mean, in my personal experience, I found that if, no one really gives me a hard time if I just say, well, like, no, thank you to whatever it is, meat or a dessert. No one really gets offended if you're making it clear you're just doing it for a personal healthy choice. I just don't make a big deal out of it. I just bring something healthy that I know I can eat, and then I just help myself to vegetables, and fruit is always a good option as well. So it is kind of a tricky time to try to begin a transition to plant-based. But today we're going to talk about what you can do to maybe start planning for the new year, because that's a time when we all like to turn over a new leaf. So you can start doing some reading or watching some documentaries. I don't know, I think you've watched some documentaries or?
Internet things, but I don't,
Okay.
actually, there was a documentary last time that I saw.
Oh, the disease
Yeah,
reversal one.
yeah.
So I showed that one. Unfortunately, not everyone could stay till the end, because actually most of the kind of success stories have come towards the end. So the first half of the movie is a lot about everyone's health issues and diseases and all the rest of it. And then you really do need to watch the whole movie to see how transitioning to plant-based helped those people reverse their diseases. I actually donated a copy of the movie to the library, so it's available to rent, the DVD, if anyone wants to borrow it, if you didn't make it, to the end of the presentation. So there are tons of great books. I always suggest this as the first one, How Not to Die by Dr. Greger. That is a wonderful, all-encompassing, very palatable book. It's it does get a little bit into the science and the why and all the rest of it, and but it's very well laid out. So each chapter talks about a different disease, how eating this way will help across the board, whether it's heart disease, mental illnesses, dementia, Alzheimer's, cancers. This way of eating will basically help you across the board. It's not like one way of eating for one disease and a different way for another, but this basically will help you across the board, digestive issues, skin issues. It's kind of a cure-all, if you will. It sounds too good to believe. There's so much science behind it and a lot of evidence-based research as well. So that's kind of my favorite starter book. And then there's a cookbook that goes with it if you want some recipes. So Dr. Greger also has a wonderful website called nutritionfacts.org, which will present all the latest nutritional research. It's completely funded by any corporation or any special interest whatsoever. It's completely objective, medical, evidence-based research on all the latest nutritional issues. Nutritionfacts.org. So that's excellent. So that's a great book. The China study is also a superb work to kind of dig into. That does get a little bit more sciencey because it goes into this huge nutritional study that was done and all the research, but it does show very clearly how casein, the protein in dairy, feeds cancer tumors. And it was done in lab rats, but it shows how the tumors actually go up and down with the dairy casein. So that was very powerful to me. So that's a great one. And then the later half of the book, he goes also into sort of political background, corporate interests, corporations and the food industry, and how a lot of the decisions that are being made about our dietary needs are very much biased by food industry, meat industry, dairy industry. So that's kind of an interesting one as well. And then there are just a couple of recipe books here. So Prompt Your Nation, I've got into this one lately. And Kim Campbell is the daughter-in-law of Colin Campbell, who wrote the China study. So the whole family is just really like practicing what they preach. And then the plant-based woman warrior, obviously not just for women, just happens to be written by a couple of women. The Esselstyn family are also kind of one of the big names in the whole food plant-based world. Their father is, Anne's father is a heart surgeon, and he just turned 90, and he is full of vitality and loving life and doing great. He's inspired a lot of people. So maybe for the holidays, if someone is thinking of buying you a gift, maybe you would like to put some of these books on your wish list. And then there are some great documentaries you can watch as well, like Forks Over Knives, because really the more I watched and read and learned, the more inspired I became. And it just makes eating this way so much easier because I just believe so 100% wholeheartedly in this way of eating. And I'm not perfect either, but I just kind of strive more and more. Like the more I read, the more it just sort of reiterates, you know, like the why behind, like, why are you doing this? You know, it's not weight loss, it's not a fad, you know, it's evidence-based. It benefits you across the board. It gives you more energy. It's great for your digestion. It's disease preventing. It's just I think just a wonderful, very, very empowering and life enhancing way to live. But it's, you know, like I said, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and there's always more to learn and always more fun food to discover. I mean, it's really all about the food. These are just two more books. The Food Revolution. This book is actually decades old. This is just a new edition with a nice, pretty, attractive cover. But this book has been around for at least 20 years. And John Robbins is actually the son of the Baskin-Robbins duo, that's of Empire. So he was kind of heir to this huge ice cream fortune, and he completely turned his back on the dairy industry and has discovered the magic of plant-based eating. And so that's a really interesting read as well. And that goes into the kind of environmental aspects of veganism and not eating animals and the whole sort of food industry behind that. So that's a really good read. And then I just read this, which is by Colin Campbell. This is like a sequel to the China study. And it's really fascinating. So he basically compares reductionism to this kind of whole, and he calls it holistic, not holistic in the general sense, but whole, like having this big overview on whether it's, you know, the planet, the environment, the human body, the way of, you know, this way of eating. It's not picking out individual superfoods, or, you know, whether he's going into kind of the whole science behind it, you know, this whole obsession as humankind, like as the decades and centuries and millennia have gone by. He talks about how the ancient Greeks used to look at science and the arts kind of more as a one whole, just a knowledge. And the further down the road, you know, humankind goes, we try to become more and more specialized, and it's kind of considered, you know, how should I say, not elitist, but, you know, more worthy to become more and more specialized. And, you know, things like gene technology and, you know, this kind of science of, you know, disease and all these things. And he wants to kind of take a step back and kind of look at things more as a whole, like how does the human body, you know, you go and see a specialist for this problem, you go and see a specialist for this problem, but he wants us to kind of take a step back and look as the human body as one whole, you know, functioning in harmony with nutrition and exercise and sleep, all these. Anyway, it's a fascinating book, and I just think he's brilliant. So, you know, maybe, you know, with the quieter months coming, if you're interested in reading a book, this is really, I found this really very inspiring, and I would love someone else to read it so I can discuss it with them. But yeah, this was an excellent book. So definitely put those on your list if you're looking for something new to read. Okay, so if you are convinced that this is how you want to go forward and try and incorporate more of this way of eating into your life, it's a good time to have a bit of a pantry clean out and just stock up on some of the pantry staples. And of course, you know, everyone likes different flavors and different tastes, but these are some of my favorites. So condiments. I like food with strong flavor, so I love Dijon mustard, that's vegan. I love balsamic vinegar. And then actually some very interesting infused balsamic vinegars with blackberry. Someone gave me some which is dark chocolate flavor. I haven't tried that yet, but it sounds very intriguing to me. You can actually use that in desserts. You know, you can put like a little balsamic drizzle like on strawberries. It really brings out the flavor. So I love vinegars. And then there's coconut aminos. These are this is an alternative to soy sauce. I believe it is has lower sodium than soy sauce, so that's just an alternative to soy sauce. But soy sauce is fine. Hot sauces, most hot sauces are vegan, they might have some salt, so if you're watching your salt, you need to be a little careful. So vinegars, mustards, soy sauce for lots of stir fry dishes. And then, yeah, spices. So I know that Jean, who used to do the talk, says she has unbelievable spice racks in her kitchen. She says it's like her husband won't let her buy more spices, but spices really enhance so many different dishes. So I use a lot of turmeric and chili, and I like Indian spices, curry, coriander seed, and then lots of herbs. I mean, I do have some dried herbs, but I love fresh herbs, and you can actually buy them in some freezer sections in little cubes. I think Market Basket have basil and cilantro. But anyway, yeah, so herbs packed with nutrients and vitamins. And then up here, I'm just kind of showing you some kind of vegan alternatives that are available at places like Trader Joe's. But these are, they're processed, so they're not as healthy as, you know, a vegetable or a grain. But, you know, especially if you're just transitioning, and actually I still buy the vegan feta cheese, because I do miss, sometimes there's just some dishes that call for a little feta cheese sprinkled on the top. So those are available, various different stores. There's a vegan pesto that's really good. They have vegan dips now. So there's more and more vegan food popping up in the stores. But it is also very easy to make your own pesto. And there's a great pesto recipe on Forks Over Knives website. And a lot of recipes that call for Parmesan, you know, if you want to veganize the recipe, like for example, pesto, you can throw in, have you come across nutritional yeast? Okay, so this is very popular in the whole food, plant-based and vegan world. So this is a yeast, and it has a lot of has folic acid and a lot of B vitamins in it. You know, and we all need, everyone, not just vegans, need B vitamins. And this is kind of it's kind of flaky. You can kind of see the consistency of it. It's a little kind of cheesy flavor. So I put this into my pestos, and also I make a mushroom stroganoff, which is coming up soon. And it just, you know, it's good for vitamins, but also gives it a little depth of flavor. So that's a really good one to grab. What else do we have? Okay, yeah, and then there's, you know, there's vegan Caesar dressing. It does have a little oil in it, but it's still better than the original alternative. Okay, so coconut milk, I put in my soups and stews sometimes. It does have fat, but it's, you know,
Isn't it highly caloric?
yes. So I mean, I don't eat it all the time, but you know, every now and then I'll throw it in a soup or a stew. So it is saturated fat. It's the only plant that has saturated fat. And it's a nut, you know, so yes, it is caloric, but you know, if you think, I put 1 can in that whole crock pot, so if you're having a bowl, you know, it's not bad. And you know, sometimes you need a little something, you know, we do need some fat, you know. And then beans and lentils, obviously I try to eat beans and lentils most days, beans or lentils. And you can buy these mixed bean packs. You can buy them dried. You can buy beans canned. These are yellow split peas. The soup I made last time was with red lentils, I think. And then tons of, you know, different rice varieties and grains. So this is like amaranth. It's from Mexico, but then the current favorite in my house is farro. This is the traditional grain of the Mediterranean. And I think this was eaten in ancient Rome. Yes, the mother of all wheat. It was a staple food in ancient Rome. Super grains. Okay, so you can put them on salads, you can use them in bowls, in baked goods. So it's light brown rice, but it's kind of got a really nice nutty flavor and really good
So you
chewy
don't have to
texture.
cook that?
Oh, you do cook it.
Oh,
You
you
cook
do
it
cook
just like rice. You can just boil it just like rice. And that is really substantial. It's really satisfying. And then this hearts of palm pasta. I get this at Trader Joe's as well. I was very surprised when I opened it, because I didn't really know what it would look like. It's in a little kind of vacuum pack, and it's kind of moist. It's weird, like you really barely have to cook it, you just have to heat it. And you can throw any pasta sauce on it. You could put pesto on it, you could put a tomato sauce on it, you can throw, I mean, you know, if you're still eating, I mean, I'm sure it's good with shrimp. If you're still eating seafood and stuff, but you know, it's really easy to prepare. It's gluten-free. And this says it has 3 servings in it, but even if you ate all 3 servings, 60 calories. So it's a very low calorie, excuse me, if you're watching your calories. Yeah, and you can throw all sorts of veggies on it, pesto, herbs. So that's a good one, and it keeps for ages in the pantry. So that's a good one to have on hand. And then I really like couscous, which is popular in places like Morocco, Northern Africa. And I serve this with, again, you just need to, you just pour boiling water on it and let it sit for about 5 minutes. You could put vegetable stock on it, give a little more flavor. And then I roast vegetables and I make a little harissa dressing and maybe some vegan feta and some fresh basil. That's my daughter's favorite. Ancient grains. This is millet. So there's loads of grains, and a really good place to find the grains is Bob's Red Mill selection. Like different places have it. I think Whole Foods, Job Lot, it's all over the place. They have a huge selection of grains. I think this is Bob's Red Mill, so that's kind of what the packaging looks like. They have Barrow at Trader Joe's as well. I'm sure Whole Foods have it. So yeah, so there's many different kinds of pasta these days. So this is a brown rice and quinoa option, so that's gluten-free. My daughter's friends are gluten-free, so I've been experimenting. My favorite at the moment is this yellow lentil and brown rice spaghetti. It's a really nice texture, it doesn't go mushy, and it's really quick to cook as well. It only takes a few minutes to cook. And then this is a chickpea spaghetti, and these are plant protein, as it says, plant protein, gluten-free. So those are all good choices. And then you just throw your regular, you know, pasta sauce on it. Sauerkraut, very healthy. And I lived in Germany for 8 years, so I always ate it warm, but you can actually eat it cold on a salad as well. It's quite tasty. It's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. I love vinegar as well. I like anything pickled. And actually there's a red cabbage. They have it at Whole Foods. I found it at a vegan festival in Boston, but they stock it at Whole Foods. It's a red cabbage in a jar, and it has like sesame, but it's like an Asian pickled red cabbage. Phenomenal. So that's really good for probiotics for your gut microbiome. Anything fermented like kombucha, which I don't love the taste of kombucha. I'd much rather eat sauerkraut than kombucha. Quinoa, also high in protein. If you're looking for nice clean plant protein, quinoa is a good one. Also gluten-free. And again, you can eat that instead of rice, as a rice substitute, or you can throw it on a salad. It's got a nice texture, pretty versatile. Do any of these products look familiar to you?
No,
No?
I can't. We try not to eat a lot of the processed foods.
Okay.
But these, no, I haven't seen. As I said, we have the chickpea spaghettis.
Okay. Well, you know, I mean, beans, what I like to do with, I'm talk about this when we get to the food prepping bit, but if you just boil, and you can put them in a crock pot, you know, you can soak them overnight and then just cook them slowly. You can just make it, you can make a soup.
When you speak of beans, are you talking about the kidney beans?
Yeah, all.
Versus green beans or?
Oh yeah, so like the legume beans. I mean, green beans are great as well. No, so I'm talking more about the kidney beans, butter beans, navy beans, beans you would kind of make into a soup. You can, like the big white butter beans, you can puree them and make them into a dip. You can make them, yeah. So I use them primarily for soups, and then Jean has an amazing recipe for baked beans.
Okay.
She uses navy beans, but I use black beans. My husband really likes black beans, and it's an amazing, oh my God, the flavor is incredible because it's liquid smoke. Have you heard of liquid smoke?
Yeah.
I had never cooked with it before, but it's like it's a hickory.
I think so,
It's all natural, but it
Yeah.
smells like barbecue. And you just throw a splash of that into your beans, and there's, you know, garlic and smoked paprika and molasses, which also has a kind of a very rich kind of flavor. And you just and tomato paste and vegetable stock, and you just let it stew for hours on a slow heat, and they're amazing, really amazing. So beans have kind of become my new friends, and lentils are fabulous as well, and chickpeas. I make a lot of, you know, one pot, you know, carrots, onions, celery, garlic, ginger, chickpeas, throw it in a pot with vegetable stock, just let it simmer for a few hours. And then it makes a beautiful soup, and then I throw in some kale or some spinach or some herbs. It comes out a little different every time, but
on the dry beans, because I cook and eat those every day, and this soaking overnight thing used to bother me. I never knew why, but then I found out why it works. Is that there is a sugar that is soluble that comes out,
okay,
and that's the sugar that makes beans gassy.
okay,
And that's why, when, you know, just soak it overnight, drain it, you know, I'll put them in at 6 p.m.
yeah,
Before I go to bed, change the water, and in the morning, you know, drain it and fill it, and it makes a big difference in that.
I've heard
regard.
that, I've heard that.
And it was a pain at first, but then I thought, you know,
Oh.
there's a reason
Yeah.
to keep saying soak overnight.
Yeah,
So when you do that, and then you use it the next day in your recipe, is
Yeah,
that
you
it?
just have
Yeah.
a pot of wet beans sitting there in water and
Alright,
drain it and
just
fill
drain.
it up, and they're not cooked, they
No,
still
no.
have, but
yeah,
it really
okay.
makes it more socially acceptable.
Yes, because I have a
That's
lot of,
very
friends who have issues with, like digestive issues with beans. So yeah, so soaking overnight, so it actually works.
It reduces
Yes.
substantially.
The bloating and the, yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and actually, I think Dr. Greger talks about that in his book as well. And also, you know, if you are transitioning kind of overnight, which not a lot of people do, but, you know, it's just an adjustment for your body to get used to all the fiber as well, you know, it's just, so it's actually probably better to do it gradually. I mean, I kind of went vegan overnight, but I was already eating a lot of vegetables and fruit. So it wasn't, my body just adjusted just fine, but it's generally better to do it gradually. And also if you're on medication, because especially something like type 2 diabetes, if you were to switch to this way of eating overnight, you would drastically reduce your need for medication. So it's always good to check with your doctor if you are thinking of doing this, you know, overnight. So gradual is good. Yeah, so these are just some of the things I made recently. This is potatoes and cauliflower and pomegranate. Actually, and it looks like eggplant. Actually, I think this was at a friend's house. I can't take credit for this. I did eat it, but I didn't make it. This was at a friend's house, and she cooks a lot of Lebanese food. So she uses a lot of pomegranate seed, which I love.
Yes.
And you can see like cilantro and it's just beautiful. I mean, I just think that looks so, to me, that looks so appealing. And I just know that everything in that is just so good for me, and I could eat just mountains of that. And then this is my mushroom stroganoff, which is, I make the sauce with vegetable stock, a little oat flour to thicken it, Dijon mustard, soy sauce. What else is in it? Dijon mustard, soy sauce. Obviously some kale and some parsley, oat flour. Oh, and nutritional yeast. That's what I throw the nutritional yeast in, and just some chili flakes and pepper. And that is the yellow lentil spaghetti. And that is, I could eat that like 3 times a week. I just love it.
Is it your own recipe?
That's well, I think I found a recipe online and then I just adapted it. I just always throw extra. There's a lot of onions and garlic in it.
Sounds great.
It
It's
is-
too bad
it's-
it's printed.
Well, I can, you know, I'll write it up. I'm gonna try and get a little page on the library website with some links to recipes and websites and stuff. So, It's very easy to make. I'll bring the recipe next time. Super easy to make, very delicious, very satisfying. Love it. Could eat it 3 times a week. Yeah, so meal prepping. There are a lot of great websites out there. The Forks Over Knives website has something called a meal planner. I believe it's a free app. I haven't used it because I just tend to just wing it every day, depending on what I feel like eating. Like I don't plan like every day, every meal. I just kind of see what I feel like eating. But if you need help planning your meals, there are a lot of resources out there. A lot of the like Michael Greger books, I'm not sure if this one had like a meal planner, but just they have so many ideas for, you know, breakfast dishes and lunch and salads and desserts. You know, you can make your own little meal plan, but there are a lot of websites that will offer an actual meal plan with nutritional values and calories, all the rest of it. But you shouldn't really worry about calories eating this way at all, because you can pretty much eat as much as you want within reason of this unprocessed food. As long as you're not eating 3 avocados a day and 8 bags of nuts, which, you know, nuts are a bit addictive. But also the fiber is so filling that you don't generally get through, you know, huge portions. So it's a very satisfying way to eat. So I like to cook on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, and I will make a big batch of brown rice or farro or some other grain that keeps in the fridge for days, and some kind of stew or soup. So either a bean, like a bean chili, you know, vegetable bean chili, or a soup, or a lentil stew, or something, a chickpea stew that will keep for days, and then you can eat it as a soup, or you can put it on the grains. And so it's good to do a little meal prep so that when you're really hungry and you haven't had time to cook, you've got something healthy to reach for. I make a lot of lentil and chickpea salads. I make my own granola, it takes 5 minutes. I use oats. These are just oven toasted old-fashioned oats. That's the only ingredient. Oats are generally gluten-free if anyone is sensitive to that, but the ones that say gluten-free are the safer ones to use. This one doesn't specify, because it might be prepared in a facility that is not gluten-free. Anyway, so oats, and then I just throw on, I always throw some flax seeds, you know, that's good to have every day. And then I also throw in some chia seeds. These are really high protein as well, and omega-3. These are really good for you, chia seeds, if you haven't heard of those. And then hemp seeds are great as well. That's carb protein. I throw those in the smoothie. Anyway, so the granola, I'll do nuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, dried fruit, and then I throw in some applesauce or some date syrup just to kind of help it clump together. And then I just roast it in the oven, bake it in the oven for 20 minutes, and it gets nice and crunchy. And then I'll have that with some non-dairy milk and some fruit in the morning. And a lot of people like the overnight oats. I personally do not like overnight oats because I don't like that soggy, soaked texture. I like the granola crunch. But my dad makes overnight oats every day, measures out all his seeds and grains and everything, and he lets it soak in the fridge overnight. So there's tons of recipes for overnight oats out there, or in these in the recipe books or on Forks Over Knives. If you type in breakfast, it'll come up with 100 different breakfast ideas, and you can just find what you like. You know, because we all like different textures and flavors. So, and also, you know, for breakfast, you know, fruit is always a good option. You can have a banana and some blueberries and an apple, and that's what I should do more often. I mean, I eat I found a few breads that are compliant, you know, just sourdough is really good, and the Ezekiel bread. But some days it would be good just to have a banana and some fruit. Yeah, so like I said, you know, you can find, if you say, oh my gosh, I can't live without mac and cheese, there are vegan versions of mac and cheese out there, and you can make the sauce with cashew nuts and nutritional yeast, and it's not my favorite food, but if that's your favorite food, you can make a vegan version of it, you know, so that you don't have to feel deprived. You know, there are ways of recreating some favorite foods in a healthier way. But I personally have really enjoyed, you know, experimenting with new recipes like these. I've just had a lot of fun with the cooking and finding things that are tasty, but also like everything on those plates is really good for you, and it's also really delicious to eat. So that's kind of what I'm going for, is like strong flavors, healthy foods. So this is, again, just more pantry staples. This is my pantry, one of my cupboards at home next to my stove. Sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, shredded coconut, unsweetened coconut. These are Brazil nuts, which is supposed to be good for lowering cholesterol just a couple of days. Chia seeds, nutritional yeast, some brown rice, cocoa powder, which is sweetened. The good one, you were saying you put that in your coffee, so there are actually a lot of health benefits. So the cocoa powder, magnesium, right?
Yes.
So that's a good one to use also in baking. Nice strong flavor, flax seeds. And then also for baking, I use the they're only 72% cacao rock chocolate, but they are gluten-free, dairy-free. So I melt those for my chocolate pie with a pumpkin. I just blend those in with a pumpkin puree, and it just tastes like chocolate. It's delicious. This is an almond butter, and the only ingredient is almonds. There's no salt, nothing else added. Raw almond butter. So I'll use that. I'll put that like thin spread on my toast with my cranberry jam and my date syrup. Yeah, so canned vegetables, good to have in the pantry. Beans do need rinsing. The beets, you know, might have some sodium. Just check the label if you're sensitive to salt. And date syrup is my absolute new favorite thing. I put it on my granola. I use it in baking.
Which is this, please?
Date syrup.
Date syrup.
Date syrup, yeah. Only ingredient, organic dates.
We use date sugar.
Yeah.
We use dates.
Yeah. Date syrup, yeah, because you can just kind of drizzle it. I just use it instead of maple syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite
Over pancakes.
thing. Oh, yeah, yes, yeah. Well, actually, maple syrup is fine as well.
Yeah.
But this is just like really rich and lovely. And then I also like molasses, and that has really good like mineral nutritional value. Molasses, unsalted molasses. That's from Shaw's, I think, Stop and Shop, I don't know, Signature, whatever. One of the main supermarkets. Yeah, and then miso broth. You can buy that at Trader Joe's, and that's a ginger one, which I personally quite like. And you can throw mushrooms and scallions and tofu and all sorts of things in it. And that's, you can also throw in, I use those, the Thai vegetable gyoza from the freezer section. You can throw in a few of those, and that makes a really nice quick lunch. You can have some edamame on the side. So yeah, Trader Joe's is kind of one of my favorite places to shop, because I just think they have some great options there. And then, you know, whole grain pasta. We talked about the chickpea and the quinoa pasta. There's lots of great options out there. Okay, this is so I've been eating. The other day I went to we had a parent meeting at Gannon's, and you wouldn't expect, so this is not actually a picture of it, it was almost exactly like this. I got something called a power salad, and it's a huge bowl of kale with cranberries and nuts and red cabbage. It was phenomenal, and I just got it without the feta cheese. It comes with feta, so I got it without the cheese, and it was a huge bowl like that. It was great. And then I made some mocktails. This was my inspiration. Just using a lot of fruit and herbs in mocktails, and yeah, really just try and eat a lot of variety. That's what it's all about. You know, you don't want to get in this situation where you're just eating the same thing every day. You know, you just try and get inspired, like pick up a recipe book, like get on the internet. And also Asian food. Do you ever eat at the Bangkok, the Thai places in Hyannis?
Yeah.
Those places are great. I mean, you can get the tofu steamed, because usually when they prepare the tofu, they fry it. But you can ask them to steam it, which, you know, it's a very different texture, but it's much better for you. It's an acquired thing. And I used to always just order the tofu and eat it the way it came. And then I went out to dinner with my my Indian doctor friend, and he requested the tofu steamed. So since then I've been getting it steamed. And yeah, they're great there. You can ask them, to leave out the fish sauce, and so you get it without the fish sauce and steamed tofu, or you can just get veggies if you don't like tofu. But they always have great options there. You can get brown rice for a slight surcharge. And then Saga Fusion they have sweet potato rolls and peanut avocado rolls. And the sweet potatoes it's like tempura fried, so there's obviously got some oil in it, but it's not the end of the world, And they have a little miso soup and a nice little salad, the lunch special. And like I said, if you have watched the documentaries, read the books, and you really understand the health benefits behind it, it really makes it a lot easier. Like, you only want to eat this way once you understand the benefits, and it's really going to help you down the road big time. This was my Thanksgiving meal. So I made sweet potatoes with tahini and chickpeas and pomegranate and herbs. Then there was a vegetable stuffing, Brussels sprouts, green beans, and purple potatoes, which I think I found at Trader Joe's, but look at the color of them, and that is like bright purple. And they're supposed to be even better for you than sweet potatoes, which are better for you than regular potatoes. So there's, the more colorful, the vibrant color is always a sign of the antioxidants and vitamins. So you're looking for really brightly colored vegetables. So if you find purple potatoes, grab those. They taste just like sweet potatoes, but kind of cool color. This is my famous, my pie. So this is pumpkin, pureed pumpkin, and these melted dairy-free dark chocolate chips. And you melt the chips and you blend it in with a pumpkin and a little cinnamon and vanilla extract, and it tastes like chocolate mousse.
Is this the pumpkin you get in the cans?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. This is 100% pure pumpkin, pureed. This plus this makes that, and then the crust is dates and walnuts, little shredded coconut, and I think I threw in some molasses just to help it stick together.
To your house.
Yeah. Well, I brought this last time, and then so it makes this crust, and then you just throw the chocolate mousse in it, and I think honestly, and this is the recipe, it's in this book. I'm not very good at baking, so when I saw this was called a no-bake chocolate cake, I was like, that's for me, because I don't like baking. I'm not a very precise measurer, so I like things where I can just throw it together and adapt it when necessary. Oh, and I added some orange rind into the chocolate mousse, because I love dark chocolate and orange, and it really gave it the edge. It was really, for me personally, and a lot of other people like to do it. And then I serve it with my cranberry compote, which is just cranberries, unsweetened applesauce, and cinnamon, and a little lemon or orange. And you just let that stew. So there's no sugar in it. So this is great for diabetics. There's no sugar in it, just dates and apple sauce in the cranberries, and it's very tasty. It's like a healthy version of like a German Black Forest Gatto, because you've got the chocolate and you've got the tart, the cranberry, and just like the dates and the nut. Oh, this is just, so that's heaven on a plate to me. Portion control. But it's very satisfying. One piece will do it. This is my mushroom stroganoff again. So this is beautiful German bread on the right, like dark, heavy rye bread with sunflower seeds, and it's kind of easier to eat healthy over there, I feel. A lot of the food there is very seasonal.
So obviously you don't put butter on that bread. Is there
No.
any spread that you can use?
I mean, you can just put avocado, like like ripe avocado. I use hummus or almond butter.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have my cranberry jam and. I know, I used to think, you know, how can I eat bread without butter? And I don't miss it. I really don't. After reading the China study, I don't miss dairy at all. I just don't want to be anywhere near it. So this is eating out. This was actually in Germany. I went to visit my dad. This is a vegetable curry at an Indian, actually it was a beer place, but they had like Indian cuisine there. And it's vegetable curry with coconut milk. This was phenomenal. They didn't have brown rice, but it's okay. It was very tasty. And then this was at a Japanese place. And these are Japanese pickles, which are very odd looking, but they're good for you. And then miso soup and a little salad and ginger and green tea. And then I had vegetable tempura, which is definitely fried, but you know, it's okay. That was the best option available. And this, okay, so this was just a phenomenal salad that I had there, and it was just really fresh, and the greens were just so good. And then this is an example of an unhealthy vegan processed food. So I was in Germany, I thought I have to have a baked good in Germany, other than the bread. So this was a vegan, like a brioche, like a cinnamon roll, I think they called it. And so it's vegan, but it's obviously got sugar and oil in the bacon, and it's white. So this is an example of a vegan food that is not really healthy, but it's technically vegan. So that was that, and I did enjoy it, but it was too sweet. When you don't eat a lot of sugar and you eat something like that, it just tastes really overly sweet to me now. But and this is eating out on Cape Cod. So this is the Bangkok kitchen. These are my two lovely daughters. This is my favorite dish at the Bangkok kitchen across from Staples.
Yeah, sure.
That little hut.
Yeah.
So brown rice, this is steamed tofu. I think this is the ginger dish. So it has, you know, mushrooms and peppers and bamboo and ginger, with a ginger tea. And then this is saga fusion. This is, you can't see it very well because it's actually, the rice there is so dark. It's that purple rice. I brought some, yeah, so this is, it's called purple steamed rice. I think that's what they use. I think that's what they use there. And this is the sweet potato, and this is avocado and peanut, pile of ginger, which I love. And normally I have a green tea with it, but they don't have green tea at that one. So those are two great options. Those are my two favorite places to have lunch because they have good options. Yeah, and this is at Pizza Barbone on Main Street in Hyannis. They have a veggie pizza with vegan cheese option. And then I asked them to throw some arugula on the top of it just for some extra greens. That's really tasty. And that is persimmon. It's a fruit, it's a seasonal fruit. They have it at the moment, some places. It's delicious. It's very kind of fragrant. It's really good. It looks like a tomato, but it's orange. They have them at Trader Joe's. So yeah, that's like, you know, just an example. Sometimes just eat fruit for dessert, you know. When the pie's all gone, just eat fruit. Oh, and this is just to show you like the vast selection of the, this was actually a job lot. They have a huge selection of the Bob's bread mill stuff. Everything from, you know, beans, grains, every kind of oat, all sorts of different oats. Yeah, they usually have a great selection there. Wheat germ, I mean, everything you can imagine. Potato flakes. Guess you can make hash browns. Anyway, so that's always a good place to stock up. And I think that is it. So how do we feel about the new year, and do you have any resolutions? Are you going to try to move more in this direction?
I can't remember.